Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the series of video lecture on the subject English for Skill Enhancement. Today, I am going to discuss about letter writing. I am Arif Ahammed. I teach English at the Department of SNH, MLR Institute of Technology. So today's topic is letter writing. Let's see first what are the main aspects or overview of today's lecture. What are the things that I am going to cover? First, I will be giving a very basic idea about what is a letter. We all know, but just for formality's sake. And then we'll be talking about parts of letters. A letter consists of different parts, right? Components. So we will be talking about different parts of a letter. And then contents of the body paragraph. Like in the body paragraph, the main part of the letter, you can say, what are we supposed to write? So the content also I will be talking about in this lecture. Fine. So please understand one another fact. I am going to give you a basic overview of letter writing. Now, different types of letter, for example, request letter, apology letter, and all those things will fit in this type. Like you have to just change the sentences accordingly as per your subject, as per the context. But the basic format of the letter would be more or less same. So if you understand this and if you follow this structure of paragraph, or like components and all, then there won't be any mistake while you will write a letter, right? So let's jump into the lecture, main part of the lecture. What is a letter? So it's a written message, right? Obviously, a letter is something which is a written message that can be handwritten or printed on paper. Now, it can be both. A handwritten letter also will work and printed also. Nowadays, handwritten is a little outdated, right? We don't use handwritten letter until unless we don't have access to a printer, okay, or a computer, then only we go for handwritten letter. Otherwise, in most of the cases, we go with printed. Now, it is usually sent to a recipient via mail or post in an envelope. Now, this letter basically, if you're talking about conventional kind of letter and all, you know that this letter is actually being sent to the receivers through post, right? Any such message that is transferred via post is a letter. So, normally the fundamental definition of letter is, any such message, a message which is transferred via post. But nowadays, with the advent of technology, with the usage of internet, increase in the usage of internet, what happens? The sending letters through via post also have decreased actually, right? We don't send many letters via post. Instead, what we do, even if we have to send someone a letter, what we do? We write the letter and then we attach the document in mail and we mail it, right? We use email. We don't use the post. But the conventional definition of letter is a message that is being transferred via post. Please remember that. Now, let's come into the next part of the lecture, formats of letters, right? So, what are the formats of letter? Full block style, semi-block style, modified block style, and modified semi-block style. So, normally we do follow full block style. This is considered as the most recent, the latest trend that we follow while we compose a letter, formal letter, right? So full block style, you will get to know about what is full block style. Now let's see parts of the letter, next part. Now this is very important. Here I am going to talk about, from now onwards I am going to talk about different parts of a letter. What are the components, different components of a letter? So first thing is sender's address. We need to write the address of the sender, who is writing the letter. One of the most essential component, it is obviously without sender's address, you cannot send a letter, right? It is the mailing address of the sender. The address and contact details of the person sending the letter are written here, right? Then the first thing, please remember the order also, because all these things should come in order. And as I told, we basically follow full block style. So remember each and every component, like sender address, date, and all the subsequent, like upcoming parts also will be starting from the left side of the left margin of the letter. Please remember that there won't be any gap. Like in other format, like semi-block format, you will remember date we used to keep at the right side of the screen, right? But now in full block, everything would be coming from the left margin. Everything would be starting from the left margin. That is one point to remember. So the first thing is the sender's address. We will be writing the sender's address. Then we will be writing about date. The date just below that, sender address. When I will be showing you the sample format later, all these things would be much more clearer to you, right? So date which format you can follow? DD, MM and Y. This is the most common one, but month, day and year format also has been used. So it's up to you, whichever format you should be, you can use as per your convenience. Fine. So first column, sender's address. Second thing is date. Then third thing is receiver's address. Person whom you are writing the letter, his or her address also should be written. Then again, it will be starting from the left margin. Fine. And then the subject. Now, after these three things, sender's address, date, and then what? You can see the format. I'll show you how it will come. So this is sender's address, SA, right? Now, next will be coming date. And then the last one would be receiver's address. You can see everything is starting from the left margin of the letter, right? So please remember that. Now, next thing is the subject. Now, this is very important, subject. Why subject is important? Because it is the subject line that actually discloses the content of the letter. What is the content of the letter? So that's why it becomes very important for the receivers of your letter. Before going into the detail of the letter, everyone would like to have a look on the subject line to get an idea about the content of the letter. Now that's why the subject line is very important. Now you can see this highlights the aim of writing the letter. Like, what is the purpose of writing the letter? What is the subject of the letter? What is the content of the letter? The subject of the formal letter should be very brief, 6 to 8 words, and must be preceded by the word subject. So you should be writing it like sub, or you can write the full form of the word also sub, and then you have to write the subject line here. Now this is very important, 6 to 8 words. It should be very precise. Now we sometimes will see later that contains subject line with 4 or 5 lines. Only in the subject line only there would be 4 to 5 lines. Now that is strictly avoidable. You have to avoid it at any cost. You cannot write that big a subject. Your subject line should be at max 6 to 8 words. It should be very precise and to the point. It should clearly reflect the content of the letter. Fine, I hope it's clear. So it's not a random act. Please remember that. Subject line, normally we just write a subject. But please remember that your subject also has a specific role, and it plays a very important role when it comes to enhancing the effectiveness of a letter. So please remember to be precise and to the point. Only 6 to 8 words at max. Fine. Okay. Now let's see what are the next part. Then the greeting, salutation. We also call it salutation, right? Salutation. So what is greetings? Now you see, normally we say respected HOD or all, but please understand that this word respected is outdated. In latest trend, we don't use the word respected. In most of the cases, we use the word dear, and you can use it for your HOD, principal, anyone. Please understand that. So how do you write this salutation? So if you know the name of the person, then obviously you have to go by the name. For example, dear Mr. Jones, dear Mr. Arif, dear Mrs. Jones. Okay, to a married woman. If the person is married, then you have to use the title Miss, MRS, right? And then dear Miss Jones to a woman. If you are not sure about the marital status of the woman, you can use MS simply, right? So that's how you write. Dear Miss Jones also you use, but this Miss word title is not used nowadays much. So it's better to avoid it. So Mr. Jones, dear Mr. Jones, or dear MRS, Mrs. Jones, right? You can, if you are not sure about the marital status of the woman, then you can use dear MS Jones, right? Now, if you don't know the name, what will you do? It's pretty easier. You can simply write dear sir if the person is male, and if the person is woman, then female, then you have to write dear madam. If you are not even sure about the gender, you can simply say dear sir or madam. This is also fine. So please understand this. This is also equally important. Before starting your letter, you must know to whom are you addressing the letter, and accordingly you have to come up with the salutation. If you come up with a wrong salutation, let's say if someone is unmarried, and you are writing the name or using the title Mrs., it might be offending for that particular woman, right? So that's why it's very important to pay equal attention to this part also. Greetings. How do you write the greetings? Fine. I hope it's clear. Now let's see what is the next part of a letter. Now body, this is like the content, main content of the paragraph, like of the letter. So the most important element of any letter, because this is the part where you are going to convey the message, the real message, right? Till now you took care about the subject line, receiver's address, sender's address, and then subject line, salutation, all these things. Now comes the main part where your message would be conveyed through the body of the letter. Now, the body of the letter is generally divided into 3 sections. Normally, I do prefer this format. I love to write letter in 3 paragraph format. We say it 3P format. Okay, 3 paragraph format. Now, this is very effective 3 paragraph format. Okay, I'll show you how. The first thing is the first part, the first paragraph, it would be an introduction, right? It contains sender's details. Like though you are writing your details in the sender's column, address column, but here also at least 1 or 2 line you need to write. For example, I am Arif Ahammed, I am from Hyderabad. Okay, 1 or 2 lines, right? I am Arif Ahammed pursuing BTech from MLR IT. See, just 1 or 2 line at max, giving your personal details, your introduction basically, right? Then middle part. Now, why I am saying this is important, why I prefer, though in many format in internet on, you will find that they directly start, I am writing this letter to let you know or to inform you, like that. Okay, but I prefer to go with 3P format where first paragraph should only contain the basic details, the introduction of the senders. Now, this is because in most of the cases, if you are writing a letter to higher officials, they don't bother to look in the to the address column as such, right? They don't go through the address column. So they might not be knowing about your name, who are you and all. They don't look your details in the address column. They directly start from the main part of the letter. And that's why it's very important when you start that main part, body part, you should start with your basic introduction, your just primary details, your name and from where you are. Fine. Then introduction, then middle paragraph, middle part. Now middle part, why I'm saying middle part, because this part can contain more than 1 paragraph. Fine, please understand. It depends on the context. What kind of letter are you writing? Whether the subject is too complicated, it requires more explanation. Then accordingly, you need to decide the number of paragraphs. Only one thing you need to keep in mind, your message should be clear. So if it needs more explanation to make the message clear, you can go for multiple paragraphs. Otherwise, 1 paragraph, middle paragraph also is fine. So what is the role of this middle paragraph? Very important again. Elaborate the purpose of writing the letter. Now, this is one common mistake I have observed that students do. When they write this, they simply write just the problem. Okay, I am writing this letter to request you for a leave. Now, this might appear to be offensive. Offending if you are writing that sort of letter to your HOD. You are directly saying that you are writing this letter to request for a leave, but you are not explaining why do you need that leave. That is also equally important, right? On that basis only your HOD decides whether to grant the permission or not. So if you simply ask for what you need, that sometimes sounds arrogant also. So please remember that. Never do that. Before going into that final request, what you need to do in the middle paragraph or more than 1 paragraph, you need to elaborate the purpose of writing the letter. Why are you writing the letter? Okay. Now, as I said, according to the context, you choose the number of paragraph. If it needs more explanation, you go for more explanation. Then last paragraph is conclusion. What do you do in this paragraph? You ultimately make the request for some action or what is expected. 1 paragraph, it is like 1 or 2 lines maximum. Hence, I request you to give permission or to grant me leave for the said dates. Very clear, 1 line, 1 to maximum 2 lines. So this is 3 paragraph format. Please remember, very important. Now, complementary closure. What is complementary closure? You must have heard about this, your faithfully, your sincerely and all, right? Normally, when you don't know the name of the person, the senders, you just wrote to the designation, to the HOD, then better you use faithfully. Though it's outdated, we normally do not use the word faithfully anymore. Sincerely is fine. So it's better to use yours sincerely. Okay, and then the last part, it would be signature line. What is signature line? You will put your name and signatures. And you can also mention your designation. If you have any designation, that also can be mentioned. Now, these are the main things. Now, few additional tips are also equally important. What are those? Use of colloquial words, short forms like abbreviations, slang language, and abbreviations are restricted. You cannot use all these things in a formal letter, which is a very alarming trend in today's youth, because I have seen when students they write letter, they normally follow message language at times. Wanna be, I wanna be. I don't understand why. Because for message purpose, it's fine when you are sending a text message to your friend. But please remember, you are writing a formal letter here. So you cannot use the indigenously devised abbreviations. Sometimes we create our own abbreviations, right? And we use it in message while we send message, text message. But please understand, in formal letters, in formal communication, not only in letters, in any sort of formal communications, you are not supposed to use all these things. Your language should be strictly formal, and your choice of words also should be formal. The letter must be to the point, precise, and clearly indicating the message. This is one another thing. Do not digress from the topic. Don't add unnecessary explanation that actually makes the message ambiguous, right? Rather be to the point, precise. So you have to focus on clarity of the message. Please remember, the subject line is also very important. As I told, informal, it should clearly reflect the content. It should not be like that nowadays. YouTube thumbnail, you have seen, like in thumbnails they would be having a description, and you will get excited by seeing the description. You will open the video and you will find that it doesn't match at all with the thumbnail description. So your subject line also should not be like that. And do not make it unnecessarily fancy. Make it very simple, to the point, so that it clearly reflects the content of the letter. So these are the additional tips that you need to remember while you are writing a letter. Fine. Now you can see the sample here. See, this is the from. You see, remember, from and to, it's optional. Even if you don't write these words, it's fine. But you can write also, because I am showing you the formal. I am teaching you from the scratch, so I am using those words. Okay, so from, then this is sender's address, right? A. Now this is receiver's address, 2. In between the date should come. You can see here they have used this format, 6th January 2021. You can also write it like 6th month, then day, month, and year. This is also fine. Okay, this is subject line. You can see request to issue bona fide certificate. Very precise, to the point, right? Request to issue bona fide certificate. Then salutation, dear sir. Then you can see they have used here 2 paragraph format. You can just transform it into 3 paragraph, not a big deal. You can simply write first, for example, I am Arif Ahammed, pursuing BTech from CSE, MLR IT. Okay, MLR IT, even if you don't write, it's fine, because you are writing the letter to the principal of MLR Institute of Technology. So that is one line, first paragraph. Then second paragraph, with reference to the above subject. So you can modify it in line with this. So I'm writing this letter to request you to issue a bona fide certificate to me. I require the bona fide certificate in order to apply for passport, in order to apply for bus pass, anything, right? So you can see you are just mentioning the purpose, but you are not just only mentioning the purpose. You are doing it in little detail. You are not just saying I am writing this letter to request you to issue a bona fide certificate. No. After that, you are also telling the purpose. Why do you need the bona fide certificate? I need the bona fide certificate, or the bona fide certificate is required for applying for the passport. You can see you are elaborating, and that's very polite, that's very formal. And then last one, when you actually call for the action, you make the request finally. Hence, I request you. Now, this is very important. Please remember, this is a very, general type of word that we can use for any letter. Hence, I request you. You can also say, therefore, I request you. But hence is more, mostly used word. It's up to you. You can use therefore also. Hence, I request you to kindly instruct the concerned section to issue the bona fide certificate at the earliest. Then, signature line. This is signature line. This is complimentary closing. Fine. Now this is how you write a letter. Now I'll just show you another sample letter. This is little different. Not in terms of the format. Format would be all same. You can see address column, subject, then 3 paragraph, and then again complimentary close, signature line. Everything is same. Just the content. because this is a letter to an editor. You are writing a letter to a newspaper editor. Sometimes what happens, in order to highlight something, we do write letter to the editor, and those letters get published in the editorial page, right? So how do you write that? First, you will make an subject line. So subject line would be, you can see here, sample, an appeal against rising tech addiction among youth. So this is a subject line. Okay. Now, this is very important. This is little different. It's not like the request letter or apology letter or complaint letter that you normally write to your principal or HOD. You can see, with great admiration and belief in your columns, in the columns of your newspaper, I seek to bring to your kind notice the first growing menace of tech addiction and resultant health cares among the youth of our country. So you are making him aware about certain things, right? And why? Because you have great beliefs in the columns of the newspaper. You know that if this letter get published in that newspaper, many people will read that and they will get to know about your concern, what concern you are raising through your letter. Now that's why this is, with great admiration and belief in the columns of a newspaper, I seek to bring to your kind notice. Up to this you can write for any letter to editor. Then according to the exact subject you can change this part. Right? Then you would be again explaining the issue that on which you are writing the letter. And then last paragraph also is little different. Here, what you are doing, you can see here. Hence, you are not requesting the editor, unlike the letter to the principal, where you requested principal itself to issue or to instruct the concerned authority to issue you the bona fide. Here, your editor is not going to do anything, right? So, see how you are writing the last paragraph. Hence, through the pages of your esteemed newspaper, I would like to appeal to the youth worldwide to maintain a balance of all spheres of life to fully enjoy it. Thanking you in anticipation. Fine, you understood here? So you are not asking your editor to do anything. Through that newspaper that is being run by the editor, you are actually making the appeal. You are requesting all the youth to lead a balanced life. So this part is little different. Here also it's little different. Please remember this while you will be writing a letter to a newspaper editor. Fine? Okay. So with this, we come to an end of this lecture. So what are the basic things that we have learned? What is letter? We got an idea about letter, and then format of letters, different parts or components of letter, and an arrangement and construction of body paragraphs. How do we construct the body paragraphs and how do we arrange them? So these three things we learned today. We have learned today. Right? Thank you everyone for being with me. I'll meet with you with a different topic in the next lecture. Thank you everyone.